start of Stroh. They reprinted Stroh on top of it. Down here in the corner, it says reissued 1885. 1885 was when they changed the name of the brewery. This is a porcelain sign, heavy. The thing that amazes me about this is usually porcelain signs are this way. This one is this way. But they're so damn hard to come by, I'm happy to have it. That is probably 1903. Wow. Then you go up to here, which is a lithograph. This is original glass, original frame, probably
Original
1903.
They settled into this guy pretty strong.
Oh, look
He's
at
all
here.
over.
Yes, different versions of them, but yeah. This is probably 1903, lithograph, printed by stone. This is one of my proudest pieces, 1893, Chicago World's Fair.
No shit.
What is so nice about this is it shows these labels. I have one label out of the three that they show. It's just really, really amazing. This came out of New York. A friend of mine called and told me that it was available on Twitter. And I says, I don't do Twitter or none of that. So he sent me the information on it. I contacted the guy. 2,500.
2,500? Oh my gosh, that was
2,500. This is 1893.
No, what year did you buy it?
Oh, 3-4 years ago.
Oh my god.
Wow. Stroh's came down. John Stroh, the CEO for Stroh Holdings, came down and he says, we were looking at the stuff in the basement, and he says, what do you think it's worth? And I says, well, I told you what I paid for it. He says, you told me you paid 2.5 for it. What do you think it's worth? And I said, 5.5 grand. This is the head of the guy that runs the archives and all and everything else since Blum's gone. And he says, I know 4 people that would give 5 for it. And I says, yeah, and if I can get all 4 together, I'll get 5.5. so, so this is one of my pride pieces.
oh,
This piece is nice. This, you can't really see this because the printing for Stroh's is up here in gilt.
sure.
It's gold.
Yep.
And it's, again, probably early 1900s.
And that would be a stock piece that they would have.
Very,
probably.
yes.
But
I
you
believe
don't
that.
see that gal pictured. That's the first time I've seen her. I mean, in
Yeah.
trays or the
But I think it is a stock piece
Yeah,
they
'cause
print
the
to.
stove company
Yeah.
signs will use the same stock pieces sometimes. I'll see the same gals on the stove
Yeah.
advertisement.
And if you come over on this side, it gets better.
No, it doesn't.
Just wait, there's
Those
more.
Those are amazing.
These pieces here are Line Brewing Company. Line Brewing Company out of Stroh's is almost impossible to find. It just commands higher
I do love the
prices.
spot.
The thing that is amazing about this is, if you look at this says Line Brewing Company. And if you look at this, it says B. Stroh. But it's the same lithograph.
And the postmark is 1900, and the next one is hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't, if you got a
but-
light good, my eyes aren't
But
good.
yeah,
But I
they're
put
just
them-
flipping over.
I put them both together because it's the same lithograph. And if you look, one says Tivoli Brewery and one says Line Brewery. So it's,
I don't know what the Tivoli Brewery connection is with Stroh's.
it was the brand. That was the brand they put out.
And
Then this
Tivoli's
is-
Then Tivoli had the Altes brand, and then went with Altes.
and
Right.
Tivoli spelled backwards is
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, and Regal spelled backwards is lager. Yeah. Then this is actually was a blotter pad.
Was Stroh spelled backwards? Sure.
This was the cover of it, and you get 3 blotters behind it, which did not have this on it. The only thing on this was the cover. All the pads were blank. So people don't even know what a blotter is. You know, you wrote with a pen, you didn't want to smear it, you blotted it, and that dried it. Nobody hardly ever notices that's burned out.
Oh, because
Yeah, see?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't notice
Yeah.
it.
People really don't notice it, but it's such a nice piece. You come over to this piece, full bottle on display. It's metal. It's die-cut metal. I know of only 2 of them, and it too is probably it's pre-pro, but I'm not sure the date. I could look at the label and know. Trays. This tray is what they call the Munich monk. This guy right here,
I love that little guy.
yeah, is a Munich monk and everything. This is a brass tray. It's actually hard to see because it's all engraved. Very good tray, hard to come by. All of these trays are all pre-pro.
You can always tell stuff like 300,000 barrels, 500,000 barrels.
Yes.
You can kind of date it by the
Yes.
barrelage representation.
Yeah, so they're all from the 1880s, 1890s. This piece, 1883. When I got the piece, I dated it as 1903 because it's brass painted. 1903 is when they had those signs out. Ed Stroh sent me a picture of the Stroh display they put on in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. This sign is in it. So that puts that sign at 1893.
When you
We
say-
know it because of the photo.
When you say that sign, you mean that style or
That particular.
Yeah.
or that particular one?
Yep.
Yes.
I've got one.
It
like
could have
that,
been that
Chris.
sign.
Yeah.
I've got a partial one like that. It's from the Forester Brewing Company in Ypsilanti. Somebody cut it up to use.
Now these 2 pieces over here are testimonials. They're beautiful lithos, but on the back is letters that had sent to the brewery extolling
I just bought a case.
their beers. You know,
I
all
just bought a case and I really liked it.
yeah, exactly. So that's and there's 4 of these actually. The other 2 are smaller. They're very common. These 2 are somewhat more or less harder to come by.
I've got the one where this little
Yes.
fella was doing something.
Yes, I seen the one you had. This one,
I've
where
got-
you had the back display too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We bought this one. It cost a shit ton. It was like $800.
Yes, yes, they're scarce. And then this is
They
the
are hard to
This is
get.
the other
They're-
same
no,
size.
They are freaking hard to get.
That's a toughie.
It'd be a surprise if some of this.
This down here,
Come on over here, Joel. Explain that one, dude.
okay.
What do we got here?
This one, when I showed it to Peter Blum, who was archivist for the Stroh Brewery, I loved the way he said it. He said it was such a lascivious goat, because you could think what was on his mind. He's looking at the girl. This is probably 1903 because of the dress for the girl, 1905. And I told Peter, I said, I think it's a stock piece with the Stroh's overprint. He said, yeah, I believe you're right. And he said it was probably put out by a distributor, not the brewery. He said it is a Stroh piece, but probably by a distributor instead, you know, of the brewery.
What? How do you
So-
explain the fold down there?
Which one?
How do you explain the folds?
This here?
Because when I got it,
Same thing. Same
somebody
size,
had folded it and put it in the frame.
Okay.
And then when they put it on eBay, I got it.
Tree right
The
there.
guy that actually bought it for me, this is before I had a computer. And he said, I didn't know it was folded and creased. He said, if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. And I said,
Yeah,
$60.
send it to me anyway.
He was out of work. I gave him the $60 and I gave him $100 finder fee. Just because he was out of work. And he said, oh, well, okay. But yeah, it's another one of a kind.
That's my fave so far. That's totally awesome, my friend.
You think so?
You're into animalism.
No, I just think
No.
that I love the art. I love the colors.
Yeah, it's very.
It is.
I love the look on the goat, you know,
Yeah.
hoisted a
Very
beer to the
deco.
girl.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got, hey Chris, you got this over.
Then when you come over here, this is Prohibition stuff when Stroh was making ice cream.
To stay in
These
business.
are blotters. This is a menu. This is the stand that the menu went in. And I didn't take it out in that. These are soda pops that Stroh's put out during Prohibition. You couldn't make beer. They had it survive, so they put pop out. This is a bottle, 1883. The ribbon says Chicago World's Fair, 1883. So we know what the deal is on that bottle. Another tray with the monk, the Munich monk.
And the colors are just vivid in that.
Yes, yeah. And down here's what we call a porcelain center brass tray.
And a lot of Eastern breweries, that was prevalent to have that porcelain insert. Rhode
Yes.
Island, Delaware, New York.
Yes, and in Michigan, there's probably only 6 of them for different breweries. Here are the bottles, a tip tray for the malt X tonic, malt tonic, an advertising showing brown stout and all. One of the nicer things about this right here is the first bottle, not the original first, but the first design bottle Stroh's ever put out. It's a Line Brewery bottle out of Detroit. I have a letter in my collection that they sent to a buyer in 1873, so we know they bottled in 1873. Never made a label, just a bottle. This is a B. Stroh bottle, which came out after Lime. These 2 bottles were made by, or were filled by, Biver Brewing out of Mount Clemens. They were not, well, they later became a brewery, but at the time they were only bottlers. Stroh's hired them to bottle their beer.
And at the time, you had to have a distant bottling. You couldn't bottle within the breweries, so you'd have to.
Well, yes, and also Stroh's had a bottling plant in Cleveland, which was called the Cleveland branch.
Yeah, it wasn't a brewery.
So
it's a
that's
bottle.
why
Not
it
a
shows.
brewery. It
Right.
was
It's a
It
just,
shows on your World's Fair the middle bottle is the Cleveland brand.
Yes,
Cleveland.
yes,
I never
and-
knew that before either
yes.
until the day. You
Yeah.
said something about Cleveland.
and these are
Never-
cases, which the case over there has a cover on it, and it shows the faces of them here. This one does not have a cover on it. This one does not have a cover on it, but it has
They're all different.
the same lettering. Yeah, that
Block letters.
is what they laid in the case. Without a cover, they were using these bottles, which they call flint glass, means clear.
Oh my God, look at
They put them in there. The worst thing for beer is sun and heat.
To be light struck would skunk it.
Exactly, it would. So when these bottles were in there, they put that on top of it to block the sun. And I love this because somebody at the brewery took this home, gave it to their kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's
That's
just
the best thing I've seen tonight.
Yeah.
this. Hey, this does
The
not
fact that
take
that-
away from
the
it.
fact
Believe
that
me.
that is saved.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's awesome.
So yeah. So.
That is so awesome.
But that's what, see, if this was bottled, this actually would be up to here,
Yep.
and it would block the sun. And I've heard that some of those were tar coated on the back to make them more rigid.
And Joe, just to wrap this up with your tour of these amazing things, could you state your name and how long you've been collecting?
Uh,
About 18.
40.
name is Joe Olsen, and I've been collecting at least over 40 years. And I collect other items, but my main collecting is Stroh Brewery.
And we'd love to thank Joe for giving us a tour and bringing these amazing things to the mill in Vicksburg here on June 10th, 2021. I hope you enjoy this tour. And these are items you might see one in a collection, but to see all these gathered in one place is truly amazing. So thank you so much, Joe.
Boy, you